Hey there, it's Jen and I am back with another layout for Pink Paislee. This week on the blog we're talking about, the theme is birthdays, and as soon as I got this Confetti Wishes collection, I knew it was going to be perfect for my daughter's birthday because a week after she turned 12 we went on a cruise and we kind of said that it was part of her birthday present, and so this is perfect because it's got that really islandy vibe going on and it's birthday themed, so it's just absolutely perfect. And in this particular picture, I'm wearing a dress that really matches the colors in this kit, or in this collection. And her blue sunglasses don't really, but we're gonna go with it. And the way that I'm gonna tie it in is by using this. And this is the middle piece of these really cute thickers from the new Pick Me Up line called Happy Life, and this is the piece that separated the two different colors of the fonts, and so I'm going to use that on my background for this layout, and that's how I'm going to bring in a bit of that blue. And so that's where I'm going to start, and I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward.
So what I have here is all of the chipboard pieces and stickers and die cut pieces from the Confetti Wishes collection, and the chipboard and the stickers came from the card kit. And so if you aren't super into making cards, I still think that that kit is worth having a look at because it has a lot of fun little embellishments included inside of it. So I'm just pulling out all of the things that I think might work for this, and I especially am pulling out those leaves. You can see in the beginning of the video, I don't think I talked about it, but I have some die cut leaves just to the right side of the layout that I used a die that I have that I got on Amazon. I'll link to it in the video description. I'll link to all available products in the video description. Anyway, and I really like that. I think it's Monstera leaf or something. Monstera, I don't know how to say it, but I really like that leaf shape, and it is definitely a tropical vibe. So I'm thinking about that. I pulled out some different pattern papers that I thought I might want to use, and I'm liking this kind of pink color. I wanted to use it right where that part where it fades from light to dark, and have both of those in my title. And so what my title is going to be is Birthday Cruise, and I'm cutting the word cruise out of this piece of paper with my scissors. And the way that I find is really a great way to cut out a title if you're not very comfortable with it and if you're afraid of your letters getting all messed up, the best way to do it is to cut a strip and then make your letters go from top to bottom on that strip. Then they're all going to be roughly the same size. And so here's my S. S's are the hardest for me, so I actually drew the S and then cut around it. It still looks a little off. Sorry if you can hear that plane in the background. I was glad that this paper pad came with 2 sheets of that paper because I needed one more to get my E in there. And there you can see I'm just cutting the lines out. Wow, that plane is really loud, so I'm really sorry about that. Maybe you can't even hear it. People always say stuff in their videos like, sorry if you can hear this, and I never hear it, so maybe you're not hearing it either. Anyway, now I'm looking through the Chipboard Stickers Set, and this just has a lot of really fun colors, and like I said before, I thought it was perfect that this was birthday themed and kind of tropical because of my daughter's birthday being right before our cruise. So I decided to outline the letters with a white Jelly Roll pen, and I ended up drawing in the center of the R. I don't know. I thought maybe I would cut out the very middle of it, but I didn't. I just left it how it is, I think. I can't remember now. But I just like the way that these stand out a little bit more outlined. And right now I'm not super loving the way that those bright colors are looking on the background, but I'm going to play around a bit and find a good solution for me. So here what I'm doing is putting down some gesso, just some white gesso with a little scraper tool there, and I'm putting it on most of the background, and I'm scraping off the excess, and I'm using my fingers to kind of rub out the edges so it's not like a harsh line. And gesso dries really fast, so I'm wiping off my little spatula tool there with a baby wipe, and I'm going to get out some distress inks, and I'm going to do some ink smushing on my background. So I'm pulling out some colors that I think kind of match the colors in this kit. I have my little ink swatches there, so I'm looking through to see which colors will be best. And what I'm trying to do is match them up with the stripes in the paper, kind of in that piece that came from the center of my thickers. And so I'm just starting with this light pink. It's Tattered Rose Distress ink, spraying it with a water bottle. First I thought I was going to just pick up the ink with that scraper tool and kind of scrape it down the layout, but that didn't really work. And so I decided to just kind of smush it on. Here I'm trying to make a color that's a little less red. I want it to be more of an orangey color because I don't want it to look like blood. And in this moment right now, it kind of does look like blood, but once I get everything else on, it doesn't. So there's some yellow. This always stresses me out right here because it looks like a hot mess. But once you put everything on top, it really doesn't. And thank you, Missy Whitten, for teaching me that, because I mean, I tried things before, but sometimes I would think it was a hot mess and then I'd get rid of it right away before I put everything else on top of it. And if you keep going, it just ends up looking great, and you have to let it dry, and eventually it comes out wonderfully. So I am glad that I just kept going. So here you can see it's kind of a rainbow of color. I'm going into the blue now there, and I will link to the different distress ink colors that I used in the video description. But there's peeled paint, some sort of denim, salty ocean, I think, mustard seed, picked raspberry maybe, tattered rose. So you can see I kind of was trying to make it go along with the rainbow of those papers, and then, or of that paper that I was using. And I felt like it was just way too much. It was going to be too much. So I'm trying to decide what to do. I don't know yet. So what I'm doing is I dried it with a heat gun. I actually spritzed some water into my hand and then dropped it onto the layout to pick up some of the color, just to give it a little bit of a splotchiness, because with distress inks, they react to water. So if you put water on top of it, you can pull up some of the ink color with it. So I tried to do that, and it did it a little bit, but it didn't make a huge difference. So here I'm doing some splatters, and I decide to use my paintbrush and just put so it's exactly the same color. I'm just putting a little bit of distress ink onto my little packaging there, spritzing it with some water, and then using my paintbrush to kind of drop the ink on. But it wasn't giving me quite big splatters. Like, I wanted kind of some of them to be big and some of them to be small, and the paintbrush makes them pretty small. So for the big ones, I just spritzed it and then kind of dumped it on, as you can see me doing there. And I'm going to dab the dots up a little bit with my baby wipe, and I'm going to just kind of play around and put these dots on my background until I feel like it looks pretty decent, and that looks fun. And I had a lot of fun making this, but it gave me some fits. Like, I had a little bit of a struggle. So here I'm just trying to dry it with my heat tool. Those dots don't want to dry. Gesso makes things take a little longer to dry, but it's worth it for the look that you get. So it's a trade-off. So here I'm cutting that paper up, trying to decide if it's going to be easier for me to use if I do it that way. And so I do like it cut up, and I'm cutting off the purple because I didn't use, or well, maybe I didn't cut off the purple. I cut off some of the paper, and I made it so that it coordinates with the colors on my background a little bit better. And I'm just going to use 2 little strips of it, and that makes me much happier. I am liking that so much more already than using the humongous piece. So here I'm using a piece of scrap paper to kind of wipe up some of those ink splotches. And now I'm thinking about how I can put my title on here, and so I'm just kind of laying everything out, trying to decide if this is going to look good. And it's looking a lot, it feels better to me now. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue down those strips of that packaging that I cut up. And I'm going to have my photo overlap the bottom one a little bit. and I'm trying to make it straight. I don't usually get out my ruler, but I felt like this was off, and it was, so I straightened it up. And now I'm just going to kind of shuffle things around. Do I want everything to be centered? Do I want my photo to be off to the right? Because there's a little open space on the left of us, it makes sense for me to shove the photo to the right a little bit in my mind. So I'm thinking about that. But while I'm thinking, I am going to go ahead and put a bunch of stuff around it. Now I ended up pretty much centering the photo. I'm going to pop up the title just with some thin foam squares, and I like to have a bit of dimension for added interest. So I'll pop up a few different things usually when I pop up one thing, and it helps bring more attention to the title. So here's where I did cut off that purple. I thought the purple, I didn't have any purple on the layout, so I just decided I wanted to cut it off. And so I did, just trimmed it while it was glued to the paper because I didn't glue it all the edges down. Usually when I put adhesive on, I like to leave the adhesive mostly to the center of my items so that I can tuck things in if I need to. And so that was helpful in this case, but where I wanted to cut off the ends. So I'm going to go ahead and put down my title, and I'm overlapping it slightly with the photo, and that just helps it feel like everything's connected. Although even if I wouldn't have overlapped them, it would have felt connected because those two strips of rainbow pattern kind of act like a square that's boxing everything in. So the photo and the title are contained within that, and so your eye kind of fills in the spaces on the sides and makes it a square a little bit. And so it already would feel connected, but I like overlapping my titles on my photos. But if you're somebody who doesn't like to put anything on top of your photos, then this could still work even if you didn't. So I made that so that the Y of birthday rested in between the I and the S, because there's a little space there where the S curves around, and I like the way that looks. And I'm going to put these balloons up there. Now I'm gluing the bottom part of the balloons down, but I popped the top of them up. So that lets me layer it underneath the title as well as have it have dimension on the top. I don't know if that made sense, but in my mind it did. Now I'm playing with the little leaves here, and I'm going to just kind of fiddle around. I didn't know if I wanted to surround the entire photo or if I wanted to put some at the top and the bottom or some at the right and the left. So I decided to kind of go at the top left and the bottom right. And now I'm playing around with some of the embellishments that I brought out. That first class little stamp I really liked, and that will end up staying there. I'm going to play around with a few of these other pieces until I decide what I want. And there is a little banner, well, they're all stickers, but that spells out celebrate, which was nice, and I thought it would be good to bring some of that yellowish color down to the bottom part of the layout. And then I'm going to see what else I want to layer up here. Now what I decide to do is, to the right of my photo I put a bunch of word stickers, and I love the way this turned out. So some of them are from the chipboard sheet, some of them are from the sticker sheet, and then I think I get one or two of them from the stickers that came. Oh, see, there's the stickers, this little sticker booklet. So I got some from there. I wanted to put a 12 on here, and I couldn't decide which numbers to use. And those stickers come with a few different kinds of numbers. I was trying to decide, like, where can I put this? Where should it go? Do these even match? I didn't know if I liked the way that 12 looked with the that has the little leaves on it, and I think I end up changing that, but I'm working again on my little stack of stuff to the right. Sometimes my mind, like when I'm looking through the stickers for something else, like I was looking for those word strips, the 12 or the numbers popped out to me, so I decided to stop and do that. It's like a little bit like out of control, the way, you know, maybe you guys get distracted like that too. My mind just goes somewhere else while I'm looking for a different thing. So here I decide that I want to put my stickers in rainbow order, and I really like the way that turned out. And you can see that I'm trying to make it so that each one of those strips ends in a different spot. I don't want any of them to line up, and so they're all a little bit different where they start and stop. And now I'm trying to fill in some of these spaces here. Oh, I was FaceTiming my friend and I was showing her what I was making. I'm going to put the leaves down now, and I'm only putting adhesive on the bottom parts of the leaves because I want to kind of pull up the edges so that they can have a little bit of dimension. I decided to switch out that kind of green. It was like a more lime green or olive green leaf for this more dark green leaf because it matched a little bit better, and I only had one of those olivey green leaves, and so I decided to just switch it out. Here I'm trying to decide if I'm going to add, like, I feel like something needs to be added to that bottom cluster, and it's bothering me, and it's going to take me a minute to figure out what that thing is. But I'm gonna flip through my stickers and flip through everything just how I always do. I just look through my stuff again and see if there's anything I want to add. There were a couple of little pieces here that I thought about adding. I wanted to bring some softness to this little cluster, so I brought in an oval-ish sticker, and then I also brought in this word that has script on it, but I'll end up putting that back. And I'm just going to flip through and pull things out and put them on the layout and then decide that they don't work and then put them back and then bring them back. So I was very indecisive. I could not decide about this other leaf. It kind of looks like a feather, but I think I kind of like it. So I'm thinking about it now. Do I put it? Do I not put it? I decide to just go for it because why not? And then I'm thinking maybe I need some flowers on here. I kind of liked the way the puffy flower looks layered on top of those leaves on the bottom right. And so I'm thinking, well, if I do that, where else can I put some puffy things? And so I found 3 birthday candles that were puffy, and I'm going to put those above the word birthday. And there's a cake, but that cake doesn't really work. I'm feeling like I do need something to the right hand side of the title, and that's kind of bugging me, so I'm keeping that in the back of my mind as I kind of play around with these other pieces. So I'm just being very indecisive about these puffy stickers. I love the puffy stickers. They're so cute, and I love the florals, but I'm just having the hardest time committing. So here's where I decide to take off that number 12, and because I wasn't liking the leaf. I don't know, I wasn't liking the way it was looking. So then I was like, do I need to move over the balloons? So I moved them over to the left of the word birthday. And at first I'm thinking, okay, I like this a lot more because it feels like everything's on the top left and the bottom right. And then I put the number 12 in just gold letters, and that kind of fit in between those candles and the bee on birthday, and so I like the way that was. But now I do feel like there's a little something that needs to go right here. I'm asking my friend CJ's opinion on whether or not I should do what I'm doing. I forgot I was FaceTiming her while I was videoing this. And then I'm thinking something circular needs to go up there, so I put that yay circle. It's a chipboard circle, and I kind of like it, but it kind of bothers me. It's not touching anything else, and everything else is kind of overlapping something else. So I don't know. I just think I was not on my A game this day or something. I like the way that the finished layout, like I like the way it turned out, but it was a struggle to get there. So here I pulled out 2 of the tabs from the stickers that are from the, these are actually from the card kit, and I like the idea of a tab, and so I'm thinking about it. That one says date on it, that kind of greenish one, and then so does the yellow one. Well, I'll end up tucking that next to that cluster on the left. At least I think I do. Maybe I changed my mind. Oh, I made it into a word strip. I think it's been a minute since I made this layout, so I completely forgot. I cut off the tab part of it and I made it into like a little strip, so it kind of mimicked the ones that are on the right hand side, and I'm going to write the date onto it. And then I'm just adding some gold splatter. That's going to fill in the spaces for me that are kind of bothering me, and that is pretty much going to complete this layout. I'm going to do my journaling, and I'm going to write down my date here, but that's pretty much all that I add. I'm trying to think of the date now, I think. And I'm writing out my journaling to see where I want to put it. Sometimes I do that. I'll write it out and then I'll decide where I'm going to put it after. And so I'm trying it in a few different places. and I decide to go ahead and write it underneath that Celebrate banner. And then that will finish it up. I hope that you've enjoyed. If you haven't checked out this collection, it's called Confetti Wishes. It's awesome. I'll link to it in the video description. You can find out more at the Pink Paislee blog, where I will also leave a link in the video description as well. There's still photos coming up, and if you have any questions, just let me know. And thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you again soon.